Morning and a pleasant welcome to Inside the Media on SLBC Radio, FM 100 and television. Quote of the week, it comes from Stephen King. It says, get busy living or get busy dying. You have to choose. Okay, let's just look at the issues we have here. Well, the rampant spate of rape in the country has become a concern. President Bill declares assets. And next week, Saturday, is Cleaning Saturday. What is the expectations from Freetonians? All these, including your comments, that you will send us text or WhatsApp messages. The usual text line is 077-685518. And the usual WhatsApp line is 076-812174. Let me quickly introduce my studio analyst here. As usual, I have Professor Cecil Blake. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Professor traveled, but he's back.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I have Patrick Salia. Good morning.
Good morning, Lucia.
And I have the CSO man here, Thomas Babadi. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Kelvin Lamdo. Good morning.
Good morning, all.
My name is Lucian Ganda. And we're going to start the ball rolling quickly here. Don't forget, the text line is 077-685518. Again, 077-685518. And the WhatsApp line is 076-812174. Let us start the ball rolling. Alleged raping of a 10-year-old girl in Matujang, a Bont district, led to severe bleeding, which allegedly may have caused the death of the said 10-year-old girl. Well, we have the reports quickly.
I took her from my sister in the village to raise her up, including ensuring that she acquires education. And that's what has been happening until this unfortunate incident. We reside in the same neighborhood with the suspect. He is a farmer and a married man. Few minutes before her passing, the disease revealed that the suspect threatening to kill her if she tells anyone about what had been happening between them. When we noticed she was getting pale and weak, we rushed her to the hospital, thinking that it was malaria or other related diseases. Little did we know she had been bleeding profusely.
District Social Services Officer, Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Arthur Victor Kosowa said, cases of rape and other crimes are frequently reported in the Bond district as they record 5 to 6 cases every month. Dr. Jonathan Yoda is the medical superintendent at the Matru Hospital. He said the cause of death will only be revealed after an autopsy examination. Crime Officer Matru Police Station James Yaya Mansare said the suspect is in police custody, helping the police with investigations. Rose Konima Stevens, SLBC News.
This is just one of them, and we have several reports of sexual penetration and rape, which has been in the increase for the past months. Let us look at the effects, some resultant effects. Some of it will lead to death and severe bleeding and serious, terrible conditions. We reported it on Wayus. There was a 7-year-old girl which was allegedly raped by a 27-year-old man in Kisidokyard. Another one, the issue is now at the Lumley police station, and it goes on and on and on. But how do we go over this menace? Because it's like a menace. It's becoming a rampant issue, or issue of the day from different communities. Even in the city here, Freetown, we have incidents of rape in so many different places. How do we view this development, this ugly trend? I would start with you, Patrick Salia.
Thank you, Lucian. I think the reason why such incidences keep reoccurring is as a result of the, lack of punitive measures that are being enforced to the effect. I say so because, you know, we believe in our local parlance. Yeah. Of course, kill dog before dog, yeah, they don't know, say that day. When you punish one person in front of many, and that will set the best precedent, you know. But the spate of rape or sexual penetration have been ongoing for years now, for decades, for as many years as I know, or as
old as humanity itself.
As old as humanity itself. But in this traditional society we live in, you know, we have the common law and the traditional laws in place. So if you take the traditional laws, yeah, they are alone enough to minimize or even eradicate the spate of rape or sexual penetration. Let alone we come to the other laws that have been passed through Parliament and acts of Parliament that militate or supposed to mitigate such problems or such menace in the society.
So is it that our laws are not effective?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ineffective nature or status of our laws, possibly, and the ridiculous ways or measures or steps to go through to ensure that an alleged perpetrator is brought to book or punished, perhaps could be one of the responsible factors. Because you take rape, for example, you say until a forensic investigation is carried out, XYZ is done. Do we have the mechanisms in Sierra Leone? That is one question. And you can imagine in a difficult or deprived society like Matrujong, all of us are aware the terrain, the road condition leading to that end and its geographical makeup. You will imagine or you start to wonder, any incident of such nature happens there, how will it be possible or be swift enough for evidence or evidences to be transported from the scene of crime or the incident to where the evidences or pieces of evidence are to be presented? So you start putting all of these things together and looking at the mechanisms or the structures we have, the systems that are in operations in our country available, but all covered under the issue of lack of the implementation of our laws, okay, both traditional and the general laws passed by acts of
Thank you very much, Patrick Salia. Let me go to Kelvin Lando there. In terms of implementation of the laws, you have so many. Police will tell you we do not have enough evidence to prosecute, and then you have the family issue as well. Some families may tend to cover up because some of these crimes are being committed by family members, so they don't want the stigma to come back to the family, so they find ways to cover it up. And all of those issues compounded, I think, are the causes of the rampant spate of rape in the country. How do you think we as a nation can go over this problem?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to, on behalf of all of us, to send condolences to the family of our late fallen colleague, Soyi Sudan.
I will come to that.
Okay. I just want to say sorry to the family. But let me just come now to this point. We are talking about not just rape here. We're talking about the whole revision of the dispensation of justice for all crimes. All crimes. I think it's high time we started thinking of decentralization to the best level, because as Salia was quoting, a lot of things have to come to the center, back to the periphery for it to pass to the dispensation of justice. In the case of this poor lady, the doctor said unless a post-mortem examination is carried out, they could not ascertain the cause of death. So it tells you that they have to bring that body to Freetown, where we have Dr. Wisco Omar, who is the consultant pathologist, for him to determine the cause of death. And who knows, throughout the journey, evidences could have been destroyed along the line and so on and so forth. But however, the decentralization of all services, in fact, and also the justice system should take effect, because I can see evidence is being destroyed by the time you come to the center and go back. Even if it's a shooting crime, you have to come to the ballistic expert in Freetown for him to ascertain. So before coming to Freetown with the evidence, there is a possibility of contamination. But I believe we have to think outside the box now for the dispensation of justice in Sierra Leone, because we have, I can vouch, we have a very good trained Sierra Leone police force. Make no mistake about it, it's one of the best, with manpower and the know-how.
Is it because you are once a police officer?
Not that, but I'm privy to the fact that this is one of the institutions of state that is evolving rapidly. But guess what? All what the police works for is for presentation to the court. And the justice system, we all know that it is really cumbersome here. One, not because we do not have trained and qualified lawyers or magistrates, we do. But how do we use those resources judiciously so that we have sitting magistrates in cosmopolitan areas or big settlements? We know that there is a magistrate roving between Lunge, Masiaka, Putuloko, and Cambia, for instance. We have a high court in Putuloko, and the high court judge is not resident there. He goes seasonally. So you find out that all those will mitigate the smooth flow of justice, because it said justice delayed is justice denied. And if for that case, we've spoken about it now, we've seen it on television, but along the line, 6 months down the line, you hear nothing about it anymore, because either the aggrieved parties are tired of moving back and forth to Bo or to elsewhere where there could be a high court to try it, or the evidence has been destroyed along the line, and at the end of the day, when it is time to present the final verdict, they will say lack of evidence, go on. So the dispensation of justice should be reviewed. We also have, I must say, we also have a very dynamic correctional service now, present all over the place. But the judiciary is the problem. The problem is not their own creation, but they've gone over, because now it's the digital age. And you see magistrates still scripting when people are writing. We are in an advanced situation. They should be recorded. And is there any opportunity for that? So the judiciary should be reviewing itself, so that at least when the police work and bring their files to them, they will be in an area where they will dispense justice in a rapid form. Okay,
thank you very much, Kelvin. Professor Cecil Blake, let me come to you. We are in a situation, we are in a country, it's due, since 2016, it's due digitalization, but we are unable to go digital, based on the fact that we are not yet ready as a nation, or perhaps some kind of lapses from some quarters. We have not been able to go digital, and see what Kevin is saying. And if you look at the implications of some of these issues, it borders on some of these issues of digitalization and all of these things. They compound together to create the kind of situation we found ourselves now in. Don't you think it is time for us as a nation to look at that other area to see how we could go digital, to avoid some of these issues? Kevin has already explained it, and if you go to the police, they will tell you the same. Go to some offices and demand for some documents. They are not there. Why? Because they are not in soft copies. Papers will rot. But then I think we should make use of the technology. Professor, please, let's get your views.
Well, you know, it seems to me that the topic at hand right now indeed involves aspects of digitalization, etc., etc. Yeah. But I just wish to maybe go back to the original concern that we just expressed. Because it's, to me, yes, the judicial dimension is extremely important, but the socio-cultural dimension, I think, has to be tackled. Growing up in this country, if a woman cried rape, I mean, the community justice, unfortunately, it would appear as if it's a vigilante justice, but the thing that they do to the perpetrator of that crime, believe me, that person will never do it again.
another person.
I mean, it sets an example. So to hear about rape when we were growing up, yes, perhaps it was covered up, but those that were exposed, those people were severely, severely handled. I mean, some of it, so rough. You know, it's not even good to talk about it on the air, what they do to these people. So there is this collapse that has occurred in this country. And it's not just Sierra Leone. There is a collapse in cultural values in this nation. There is a collapse in terms of handling issues of rape and other such matters that might emanate from cultural practices. Take, for instance, you do have communities, not just in Sierra Leone, by the way, it's an African problem, as well as problems going on in India, for example. You know, there's been a prolific, accelerated rate of rape in
South Africa.
Yes, it's happening in many places. And to me, the socio-cultural aspect is extremely important. Protection, you mentioned just now, Lucian, something to me which is so critical. Why do we protect older people who take advantage of girls? You know, it's embarrassing for the family, I agree, etc., etc. But, my goodness, we have to really open up and say if an older person takes advantage of a child, regardless of the relationship, that person should be brought to book. You know, it may not be the same manner in which it was done when we were growing up. I wish it could be, because I really wish it could be, because that was a very fantastic deterrence. I'm telling you, it was brutal, but it served a purpose.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate that it takes the death of a child, you know, to bring this thing to the fore as it should. There are a lot of raping events going on in this country. It's going on. And yes, the judicial process is not responding in the manner it should, but we as a people should also recognize the importance of dealing with this particular issue from the families. Families should be willing to expose perpetrators who rape their relatives or perpetrators who rape women in the community. So it's a little bit more complex than just the judicial aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, and the whole aspect of how we treat women. You know, if you treat a woman simply as a sexual object, it becomes an issue. And if you have deranged people who would see a little child and see that child as a woman, in quotes, it even gets worse. So some of these issues at the socio-cultural, I emphasize that, at the socio-cultural level, we have to address it. Families have to be more responsible in terms of raising up little girls, to let them know exactly where not to be touched, or if they approach in a particular way, how to respond. Families have responsibilities. Schools have responsibilities for that. You know, it's about time that curriculum reflect issues of sexual education. These things are important. Our social clubs really should not allow some of this really ridiculous behavior perpetrated against women in their midst. So it's not just child rape, it's just the subject matter of rape in this society and elsewhere that we have to face, both at the judicial side, but also at the family and community levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Cecil Blake. Let me go over now to CSO man here, Thomas Babadi. You want to look at this rape issue. The main perpetrators of rape are men. Why? You're a man. Why?
Yes, it's a definition as per law.
Yeah.
Women don't rape, men rape. Because rape is defined as an act of
by law.
But it's ridiculous to say women rape.
Yeah, women don't rape.
They don't.
By law.
They don't have anything to penetrate.
Yes, you have the definition of estate.
Yes, by law.
Yes,
By law.
you
But by
have the
act,
definition
it's not the same.
You have the definition of estate act. You have the definition of customary marriage
Yeah.
and divorce act. You have the Child Act. These are laws enacted by Parliament to ensure that punishment is levied against perpetrators. Now, over the years, we've witnessed, you know, the SLP taking the lead to prosecute. What happens is that parents of these kids, the parents are problems in the past 10, 15 years, even before the laws were enacted and gives them some teeth to bite. 50-50, I mean, all these groups came together to ensure that these laws are passed. And of course, they're affected. Now, the laws are there. The problem is the parents are the problem. Number two, the police will go ahead to prosecute perpetrators at the court level. The judges will be there.
Yeah.
What will happen at the end of the day? The parents and the person responsible, they will go at home and have a family discussion. It's ended. Now, what they've proven beyond all reasonable doubts at the moment is that men at that level don't want to really rape. What has happened? It has some traditional or spiritual implication. They do not want to rape. They have women, wives at home, but again they're looking for, you know, in quote, virgin blood. That was,
So
yes.
do you want to link it with some kind of...
It has virgin blood. You have that blood and then transform it to something else. That's what we discussed at Human Rights Commission's workshop recently on teenage pregnancy, SRH&R, sexual and reproductive right. What happened? The findings made by some other institutions that were there, organizational institutions, they said that's one thing that they identified as a problem. It's not that the men want to really rape, but again, so they are looking for.
Did they conduct a survey to come up
with did so.
Such?
These are some of the things that they find out. Yeah. Secondly, the police were there. They also constrained. Whenever they table this case at court, after 3 months, going to 4 months, the parent, the deceased, or the aggrieved party will just go and withdraw the case.
Why should such a matter in fact take so long?
Thirdly, yes.
Well, that is the other issue.
Thirdly, you know, I mean,
because
like,
somebody lives in one kind of village, you know, to be paying transportation to come, and it is so difficult for them to have the money to pay, and then the case will last for years.
Yes.
That is the reason why some maybe they just succumb.
You know, but
yes. Secondly,
it is serious.
Yes. You see. Oh, what is happening now?
Let him know.
Yes. What is happening is that if Owiz comes out with his report, based on the report, tabled before the court, the person will go to prison for 7 years or 15 years, based on the report of Dr. Owiz. 7, that's how the law is.
Yes.
7 or
Juvenile
15
justice.
years. Yeah? But again, while it's going ahead, these judges are always there to push. But the parent, I insist this, the parent, because they're poor, for example, in Freetown, go to B. These are areas where you have series of rape. The other
slum areas.
That's where we have these cases.
Lots of them in
Freetown.
Freetown.
In Freetown. For example, go to Waterloo, you have areas in Waterloo. Yeah. But in the hinterland, of course, it's all over the place. Not in this actually in cities, but in districts and chiefdoms. It happens almost every other 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But because of traditional reasons, you know, they have their padikalis and all of these chiefs or whatever, they come and make sure they ensure that they sanitize the process, and then you pay some boga or whatever. That has been a problem. Now, if that
I think the law should not tolerate such compromises.
These are the challenges we have
with the laws.
With the laws.
Yeah, and the effect.
Traditional laws, not the national laws.
You see, Lucian, as
so why should we the traditional law and the state law? Which one governs
the state law? Traditional laws.
So I think the traditional law.
Traditional laws are not written.
No, they are not codified.
They are not codified
at all.
They are not codified. But like Professor was saying, he mentioned some social cultural aspects of these issues.
But they should not be allowed to overshadow laws.
What I'm saying, what I'm about to say, Lucian, in just 1 minute, possibly. Professor mentioned the social cultural aspects of this. You know, it is a norm now in our society. When a girl child is born, you'll see one man or two or some other guys, older people in fact, who are enough to be called the grandfather of that child, of that girl, start calling, where they don't want so. I think these are some of the things that we should start putting an end to. Calling a child that you're supposed to be grandfather to, calling that child my wife. you know, and most often it is tolerated.
Is that we had this whole thing?
Yes, it starts from there. It starts from those aspects.
Okay.
You go to the villages, you see young girls, teenage girls, or people who are even below teenage age. They have already been married to an old man, just waiting for certain things to be completed before they are handed over.
And then other men will tell you that this is the way the girls dress.
And that is another aspect I wanted to that is another aspect I wanted to come to. The way our girls dress these days, you see.
I don't think the dress of the girl has anything to do with it.
It has an effect. It has an effect. Self-control.
Okay, yes, Professor wanted to say something. Let him say it, and then Kelvin, please.
You know, I was just struck by the statement made by Mamadi about virgin blood. Okay, now, I think we have to differentiate what I would refer to as ritual rape, because that is a ritual rape, and really this is something that should definitely, it's just like ritual murder. These are cultural practices that should not be tolerated in this day and age. You know, I am a big respecter of culture, but there are certain aspects of culture that really are not good.
Of course.
And this issue of virgin blood, a perpetrator of rape to get virgin blood, to my mind, really should be locked up for life.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, well, this was in the past they would deal with them in that way.
Because locked up for life, it's possible that you could be released in the next
Anyway.
Depending on which government favors you.
Anyway, we should really again be addressing everyday occurrences, not just these exceptional cases. There's a crisis. The manner in which women are treated. Women are raped repeatedly. And it's not just the judicial system, it's also the aspect of shame.
Yeah.
Okay? There are women who would not come out and report rape because of stigma.
Yeah.
You know? And there are other implications for that. There are medical implications, you know, when a woman is raped, there are so many things that could happen to that person. So we have to address this issue on in a broader context. The judicial, the educational, the cultural, the socio-cultural, under which we have traditional practices. It has to be approached in a rather systematic or systemic manner.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Kelvin.
Yeah. So my own summing up is that the law should be applied. The law should be applied in any case. In fact, much more you see rape. The idea of saying she's scantily dressed is not an excuse. And I know the family support unit is really in a very good position to investigate. If you go there and you see the way they operate, they have their rules of engagement, they have their confidentiality policy, they have their caring for their victims, everything they can do. But eventually, when it goes to the court, that's where we see the problem. In fact, there is a provision that minors or victims of sexual and gender-based violence, when they are in court, they should not testify in open court. They should be protected. But here, it's not the case in some instances. So, when the police would have done all their good works and send it over to the court, that's where we have the challenge. So that's why as for me, not just for rape, for all offenses, there should be some kind of a review so as to revitalize the judiciary. There are very good people working in there, but the mechanism in which they are set up now could not match up the current trend.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kelvin. The program is Inside the Media, live on SLBC Radio, FM 100, and television. You can send in your comments as text or WhatsApp messages. The text line is 077-685518. The text line again, 077-685518. The WhatsApp line is 076-812174. 076-812174 is the WhatsApp line. We go to the next issue here. President Julius Maada Bio has officially declared his assets in the watchful eyes of the new Anti-Corruption Commissioner and other state actors. Well, this is in line with the section 119 and subsection 13 of the ACC Act. A move like this could be viewed in a way. Let's quickly, you have 2 minutes to dilate on this issue before we move on to the next issue. Yes, I begin with you, Kelvin.
Yeah, it is just as a norm because we remember when the former President Koma came, he reviewed the ACC Act and add more strength to it, and he also declared his assets. But I think the law says you declare when you are entering, and you keep declaring, you're updating yearly, and on your exit also you should declare. I think all civil servants and public servants are really doing that. So however, it's not strange for President Bill to do it, but I think he has a time frame, and it is within that time frame that he has done it. We hope that when he will be updating, and when he is leaving at some point in time, he has to declare again his exit asset. But my question is the outgone president, has he declared his exit asset? That's my question.
Okay, just leave it at that. Thomas Babadi.
Yes, Section 119, Section 13 makes provision. That's 119 talks about asset declaration. Every other public official, starting with the president, his vice, and all in Sunday. Now, you are permitted by law to declare 3 months after elections. That is, you occupying such office. 3 months after election. That means President Bio should do so on or before the 4th of July. So it's declared now.
Which he has done.
Yes, which is done now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you might have done so if there was a new anti-corruption commissioner before this time. We are waiting. Now, when you leave in office, you keep declaring, you update. Probably this year you have X4, X5, 3 jeeps, 2 houses. If you're increasing, your your house, your jeeps, your investments, your businesses, you declare them. Fortunately, for the Anti-Corruption Commission, they worked so hard that now people declare assets online. It has never happened since its inception in 2001. Now, you should also declare a year after you've left office, like President Kuma should do so, probably March 7th or March 31st, or whatever.
Next year.
Yes, next year. Yes, no, March is in March, 1 year. Now, when you declare assets, this is the question you ask yourself now. It is classified. It is not the business of the public to know what President Bill have. It is the business of the Anti-Corruption Commission and the committee set up in the Anti-Corruption Commission to declare assets. They only know that. It is not the business of us to know what he possesses. Yeah, how many houses, how many, no.
Yes,
how
but
many
what
children,
we saw,
spouse.
sorry for interrupting you. We witnessed a situation in Sierra Leone here where one of our past political actors declared his assets in the watchful eyes of the press and made known all of his property.
Against the law.
He was not president.
He was not president, he was not a public official.
He was
Aspiring.
He was aspiring.
He was making a show.
He was making a show. That's a puppy show. I mean, that's a show. He was making a show.
You call
That's
that a puppy show?
Yeah, puppy show. That was not. It's not in line with the law. The
That's
law
what the
says
public wants.
you declare, but it's clear now.
What the law wants.
The law says the law is the law. The law says you declare, but in secrecy. That's just one. Two. Once you declare, you continue declaring for the next 5 years. You keep updating. Yes, the picture and everything. Now, finally, if you have 2 children, between the next 5 years, you have 1 or 2 children, it should be in the asset declaration form. As a form. If you have 2 businesses, you have 5 businesses in the next 4 years, you declare it. That's for updating. A year after, you do so. Finally, I think, people might say, Buhari did so. It is according to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission of Nigeria. They call us EFCC, not ACC. We call us ACC. Maybe they have provisions for that. Buhari declared, it was all over the world, BBC saying, Al Jazeera, that yes, the president of Nigeria declared his assets. He has X number of money, X number of houses, vehicles, children, etc. But it's not so in the Sierra Leonean law. So in other words, except we have to go back and change the law. But what is more interesting to me is Section 119 has been adhered to, but Section 4 coming down was violated. That's the problem I have.
What does
Yes.
How?
I mean,
Please,
to relieve the
just explain.
Anti-Corruption Commissioner.
What is
There are
your
procedures.
problem in that?
There's no procedure.
So you want to question even the parliament? He has gone through parliament.
Yeah, of course. Parliament, they are controversial now. Channel Wanamajuba, Dr. Yunkela, and others questioned the procedure. What happened to the procedure? They questioned it seriously, came out and gave.
When the former anti-corruption, when the former anti-corruption boss, he has brought up a point. Yeah, when the former anti-corruption boss, the then anti-corruption boss during the Tijan Kaba government. Yes, when he was relieved of his duty. Did you question that?
Professor, the law professor, Joko Smart, he was not relieved at all. He was not relieved. He resigned.
Okay.
He was not relieved.
Okay, but they have their points. They have their points, which they are advancing. But anyway, we can leave that one for another discussion.
It is a serious deviation.
Okay, we cannot afford to deviate at this moment because that is not part of the production. Exactly. So let's just leave that for another discussion. Yes,
I have a problem.
Patrick,
I have a problem with this asset declaration aspect of the Anti-Corruption Commission.
What is your problem with that?
Whether we are being fooled by the law, we are being confused by the law and the state actors who drafted the very law. How will you say that the public officials should declare the assets? I know that there may be one or two implications. However, in life generally, there are implications everywhere. There are risks everywhere. Even when you do not declare your assets, you are being robbed. You are being chased in your house because certain people know where you live and they chase you, they go after you to rob you of whatever you have. So what is much more different, especially a public figure, a public official is well known by either people around you or certain people whom you come by. So you declare your asset now, and then you do not make it known to the public that this is what I've declared, XYZ, and this person who declared his or her assets several years ago has left office, and they want the public to know. Are we being fooled? Are we being confused? No. This is one aspect I have problem. This is one aspect I have problem with, because you already have accumulated certain things in your tenure in office, during your tenure in office, and while leaving, the Anti-Corruption Commission is not serving only those people who gave them the positions or whom they are working for. Yeah. In the name of the powers that be. They are working for the people of this country. So if you're telling me that President Mada Bio has declared his assets in the watchful eyes of the Anti-Corruption Commissioner, the new Anti-Corruption Commissioner, and other ACC officials, then what is in that asset declaration? What is that? Will it be that the 3 months that he has been given by law to declare his assets, he has been able to put one or two things together so that as he goes along, whether he has already accumulated those things or he anticipates getting those things already been put there, we do not know. Former President Ernest Bai Koroma also did the same thing, and the public was never made known to. So
why do you want a magic now to be played?
Because the law says it's secret.
No. The law says it's secret. No. That's the problem I have with the law. No. It should not be secret. No. It should not be secret.
Then you begin to campaign for review of the law.
That is the point I'm making now.
Because you cannot change the goalkeeper.
The anti-corruption law, which is being used right now, revised in 2008. Was first passed in 2004. 2002.
2001.
2001, 2002. No, it was finalized in 2002.
No, 2001.
Okay, whatever the case may be. Now, it is because the anti-corruption law was not effective then. The anti-corruption law was not effective then. That was why it was revised in 2008. And in 2008, it was strengthened a little. Why? What to make it?
2018 now.
Yes, this is 2018, 10 years. So it is prudent and right now for that very law to be revised and add some of these things. There are certain things that have overgrown in the society that we are never thought of during the revision of that law.
So you want
in the fight against corruption.
You want to start the campaign now?
Yes, let us start revising the anti-corruption law revised in 2008.
No, can I help him?
Okay, no, you don't have to help him.
There is secrecy.
Please, can you please hold on?
Whether you make it secret or not, you are being chased.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's not at risk.
Professor Cecil Blake.
Are we in a jamboree? Because this is becoming a little bit theater of the absurd. We have an issue at hand and we're going 10,000 different places. This man has declared his asset. You say this is the law. Okay, now the other ramifications, that's different. My own concern is very simple. I believe that the public should know what your assets are, of course, when you get in and when you leave. Okay, I know you'll say, oh, it is the law, it is the law. My personal belief is that, yes, you have a law, but what is expedient? Particularly against the backdrop of the crisis of leadership that we have, not only in this country, but in Africa. All right? To protect the public interest and the public good. To my mind, when people assume office, particularly at the highest levels, declare your assets. Let us know what you have. Yeah. Okay? Yes, indeed, lead by example. So when you leave office, you know, those aspiring to become presidents and things like that would not be protected maybe by an even corrupt ACC commissioner. I'm not saying that anyone is corrupt, but there is a potential for a president, a given president, to really suppress the ACC commissioner, you know, to even allow that commissioner to be corrupt by not being public with things like assets. So, in order for us to avoid all these kinds of doubts,
Professor, where do we leave privacy?
What?
Where do we leave privacy?
Excuse me. You keep privacy when, if you want to be a public officer, okay, you lose a lot of your privacy.
Yes.
A lot of it.
Don't you think that will also attract other, you know, issues as well?
In fact, when you want to lead, okay, you have to lead responsibly. Yeah. Which means that people should have confidence in you as a leader. That you are not in there just to aggrandize, you know, just to steal. Because this is the crisis we're having.
This is the perception of the public.
The people see going to government as a means of stealing.
Because we are making money.
All right? You know, I was accused...
Well, I'm not asking you to make any comment, just allow the professor to talk.
I was accused publicly. In fact, I mentioned that as being the most stupid minister that ever lived in this country. Because I'm not associated with theft. I'm supposed to have stolen money to the extent of not having to pay any debt. We are paying debt for my child's education. We're still paying that. And we're talking about that, and they say, oh, look at this stupid man. How could you be a minister and you have debt? It's a
perception of society as well.
This is why it's good to open up. This is what I have when I'm entering. This is what I have when I'm leaving. All right? And build the confidence in, let people believe that you can lead without being corrupt.
Okay.
This is the crisis for me. You know, you declare your assets, yes, but heck, I don't know what the hell those assets are.
Thank you very much, Professor Cecil Blake. Let me quickly go through the messages we have here. This one says, rape is domestic and perpetrators should be treated inhumanly just as they treat the girls. This other one says, the former president must declare his assets. If not, the ACC will invite him, from Ibrahim and McKinney. Another one says, I think the court should change their approach to dispense justice. Our laws are too obsolete. Let the government review the laws, for Mr. Gray. This other one says, the issue of rape is as serious as killing. So I think the government should stand up to the menace. It is killing our women and girls. Why not kill them? Why not kill the perpetrators? This other one says, Lucian, research has shown that certain areas of a woman's body, when exposed, causes arousal in men. So dress code is a factor. Also, lack of forensic evidence causes delay in cases which are later compromised mostly by the police, not the parents. Lastly, the attention and sympathy drawn to the issue has caused a large number of proven blackmail, from OW New England. This other one says, what sense does it make declaring your assets and keeping it confidential? From Amadou Spido. And the final one here says, declaration of assets is really of little consequence and it is just hypocrisy. Suspected public officials should be investigated and punished if guilty. That is what we never do, leading to the impunity in corruption. OW New England. From the text line, this one says government should pass the law through parliament and every rapist must be castrated. I'm sure the rape issue would be of the past. From Kaba, this one says those rapists should be sent to 20 years imprisonment. From Lamin. Another one says if this rape issue is on the increase, the perpetrators should be dealt with very seriously. Alaji Abu. Another one says if these people are looking for virgin blood, then they should find their children and grandchildren, but not someone else's daughter or daughters. From a concerned citizen. Another one says, I wish you people could talk more on the issue of impunity and how to punish the rapists. What is Rainbow doing? From a concerned citizen. Another one says, there is no way the girls are tempting the men. Can a 7-year-old girl tempt a man? The men are just irresponsible, wicked wizards. From Laura. Another one says, if a president declares his assets now, if they have more than what they declare now in the next 5 years, what should the authorities do at that time? A concerned citizen. Well, these are issues we must grapple with as a nation. We are moving on to the next issue here. A 3-month work plan has been set to address immediate problems emanating from heavy rains. Flooding is one of the rampant issues bordering on the environment. And next week, Saturday, will be cleaning Saturday. What is expected of Freetonians? Yes, I'll start with you, Kelvin.
I would say what is expected of Sierra Leoneans, because it's a nationwide thing, but we focus it on big cities because rural communities, actually, some of them are well placed in terms of cleaning.
You just have 1 minute, Kelvin.
Yeah. So like Freetown and other big cities, I am looking forward to the cooperation of people because it has really helped in terms of disease control, because a lot of filth was within people's backyards in the past, but now I see a clear, place where there is a bit lesser filth than before, although we generate it every day. But what I'm employing people to do is to bring themselves up to a level where they don't even need a cleaning Saturday to clean their surroundings. They need to do it on a daily or twice a week basis, so that at least you live in a convenient atmosphere where mosquito will not disturb you or your neighbor's mosquito will not come and disturb you. So I'm looking forward for another cleaning. But I'm just thinking about the rains. If it rains that day, that Saturday, very big one for that matter, I wonder if people will come out and the practice, people will begin to dump their waste in the gutters when they see heavy rains. So that will mitigate the problem. But I expect the cleaning team to be as vigilant as ever, so that at least we'll see a fruitful cleaning.
Thank you very much. Kevin, yes. Thomas Obadi.
Yeah, we are with that day. The summer gutters are now clean. But the problem is that those who stay up, especially in Freetown, Western area, which generates that every day, every week. You go to the markets, the places, you go to the hillside. People always generate that. But again, because of the cleaning Saturday, people are advised to bring that in front of the street. When they're there, these areas are hard to reach areas. The dumpers don't go up. So you have a smaller vehicles that goes up. And so they ended up leaving that in front of the street. Check up right up New England View, right up Chinatown, go up Leicester Road. These are the challenges, with the cleaning.
Okay.
I think what we should be thinking about is how to make money out of that. Like in Ghana, Ghanaians are making money with the council in Accra, Tamale, Winneba, Kumasi. They make money out of that. How do you do that? So that you reduce that. Now, if you look in Freetown, you hardly see iron, those scrap metals, because people make money out of them.
Okay.
And so, how do we do that? so that the council will make money, and service providers will keep doing the job. They'll make money again, clean salon, like that.
I think we need bigger heads to think.
Bigger heads to think about the cleaning.
Yes, Patrick Salia.
With all due respect to all of us in Freetown, I think we live in a capital city that is arguably one of the biggest slums in the world. Yeah.
Why do you say so?
Yeah, because you look all over the place. It does not seem to be a capital city. Even Bo or McKinney now seem to be much more cleaner than Freetown, which is a capital city, with much more sanity in those two regional capitals, unlike Freetown. In Freetown now, planning has become a thorny issue, one of the biggest problems right now that is affecting a lot of developmental issues in this country is planning, the planning of our communities. Yeah, the communities now we live in, like Babadi mentioned, you go to Sumaila Town, you go to Wazak, you go to the hillside communities. Accessing most of the areas are very difficult. Even areas now that you consider to be affluent areas, affluent communities, accessing them is a very difficult challenge. Yeah. So how will you be able to transport the debts generated by houses from those communities to bring them down, or even vehicles, whether you call it Masada or clean salon, accessing those communities? So I was listening to one member of parliament, Honorable Suraji Rollins Kamara, on the second day when they started debating the president's statement.
Do you think we have time for all of that?
No, I just want to make reference to it.
Please.
He said we should be doing this on a daily basis instead of doing it every month.
Okay. Yes, Professor.
Well, this issue of the city, this is my concern too.
You live in a very clean environment, so...
Where?
God hitch, I think it's better.
Really? Let me tell you what they did to my place the last cleaning Saturday. There was a misunderstanding on the part, perhaps, of a small community. This whole idea of getting the dirt to a spot where it could be picked up. So they just decided to dump everything right at the junction where my house is. So for, the trucks cannot remove it. They said, no, this is not where the dirt should be. So for about 2 weeks, which we can call a dirty box, that junction became a dirty box right there by the house. So this issue of access for me is extremely important, that the government or the city council should really try to improve upon means of getting garbage to collection points. This is a big problem. And I also subscribe to the notion that we should not have just like one Saturday a month for cleaning. This should be a regular thing. When we grew up in this country, we swept our front edges, took care of our backyards and kept dirt, and there were dump sites and things like that where you can take garbage. I don't know if we still have those dump sites. I've not seen them. In communities.
They have been replaced with houses.
This is the problem.
Permanent structures.
Yes, so this is what you are referring to as planning, right? Is that what you are referring to?
Yes, exactly.
With all these issues again of, look at all these makeshift shops. The city is destroyed. Freetown is no longer a capital. This place is destroyed. Proliferation of makeshift shops. And as a result of that, you have more and more garbage that you cannot harness.
And more problems.
And so, I don't know. This once a month, we celebrate it, and then 3 weeks of
Quickly, in
garbage.
few seconds, let us look in anticipation of the official release of the transition report. Well, it has come late, but let's just look. We are in anticipation of the official release of this all-important document, which is the transition report. What do we expect to see, and how quick people are waiting? We do not have patience anymore to wait. Kelvin, quickly, just a few seconds.
Yeah, there was a controversy. At some point, a certain government official made it known that the transition report will not come out because it is for government consumption. And then civil society activists and journalists started pounding, asking, no, we want to see it, we want to see it, we want to see it. And now there are leakages coming out, and the social media is proliferated with all those leakages. I don't believe what I see in social media until it is reported officially. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, Professor Cecil Blake, this is your idea.
No,
Let's come to you.
no, wait,
I think you really want to see this transition report.
Of course. Of course.
But maybe it's not for public consumption.
For the president's advice.
Look, yes. Again, for me, I believe in, public information. I really believe in that. Because if things happened that created serious injuries to this nation, the Ebola thing and all of these other things, the mudslide, if there were issues that harmed this country, I don't think it's just for the eyes of the president or the eyes of the government. It should be public information. Frankly, I am anticipating this report. I want to be educated about what they found and what they found out, and exactly to see what the government will do to prevent recurrence of those things. If you leave it classified, it's not going to help the public. I believe in public information. Yes, disseminate it. Let us see what is happening.
Okay. Yes.
You can redact. What you said in terms of security.
Yeah.
Yes, that could be redacted. Okay, but the wider issues, I think the public should know. It's the right of the public to know.
Okay.
I think to prevent or minimize impunity, the rapid rate of impunity in this country, some of these things must be made public. Yeah. But the leakage right now, which is on the social media, I think that was a deliberate leakage.
Okay.
That's your thinking.
Yes, that's my thinking. It was a deliberate leakage.
Yeah, I think we expecting, because this report will inform the how you call this thing that is established by every government, the commission inquiry. Because we're going to have commission inquiry. That is imperative. It's mandatory by law, by constitution. Constitutionally, it's mandatory that every other government that comes and takes over, you should have a commission inquiry. NBC did so. SAP did so on with NBC. ABC did so with SABB. That was the initial report, but it was only public. It was classified, and so they went ahead and invited a Gambian judge, Simenga, to have a commission inquiry. It was held at New Building, and then they held everything well. Please let sleeping dogs lie. Now we are thinking of having a potential report should be made public, which is fine, and that would bring an end to impunity. But again, the commission inquiry, where will be held? What will be the mandate? Who forms the commission inquiry? Finally, I think in this report, the government owes 3 reports. One is the vehicle report. 2 is the report that CGG and the
Thank you very much. I think we should shelve that one.
No,
we should shelve that for another discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we are going over for the final closure of the program. And before we close, we want to send out some condolences to the family of our late fallen colleague, Sohi Sudan Sise, former Sports Writers Association president. And of course, he worked for the Expo Times newspaper. That was the time I met him. Was a very, very big woman at that time. I met him working for the Expo Times newspaper. He promoted me when I was at sports, an athlete, of course. And then I worked for the People newspaper. And currently, he was the press attaché to the United Kingdom. And he died, and yesterday, that was Friday, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists opened a book of condolence for him, and he will be buried on Sunday. So therefore, we want to say our sympathy to the family, and it's a big loss to the fraternity, the journalist fraternity in Sierra Leone. We want to say that we wish them well, and we pray that such kind of happenings will go far from the profession, because we just lost Ibrahim Samora, and just at his burial, we had a news for Sohi Sudan Sise. We pray that such kind of things will not come to us in a very close time. So we pray for his soul to rest in perfect peace. Amen. So in that light, we want to bring the program to a close. Many thanks to my studio analysts here, Professor Cecil Blake, Patrick Salia, Thomas Babadi, and Kelvin Lamdu. On behalf of all of us here at Production House, at the Broadcasting House, I want to say Inside the Media returns on Saturday at 10 a.m. if we have the pass to come here. Otherwise, you still have the opportunity to watch the program repeat on Sunday at 10 a.m. Till then, do have a splendid weekend. Goodbye.